Hi, hello friends. Who are you all? I noticed that most of you are not viewing the videos. You are just ignoring it. So it is for your good that we provide this video, the explanations, and you are just going to depend on the notes alone means you are not going to get much knowledge. You may get marks, but the knowledge that you get may be very minimal. So try to take more interest in watching the video and learning the lessons, the points, the important ideas that try to grasp it and try to make it your own. And the last class we were talking about development. If you ask different people about development, different people will have different ideas. No one will have, no two people will have same ideas. Especially if you ask people of the village and people of the urban area, they will have completely, totally different ideas about development. And we also saw development can be conflicting. What is development meant for one person need not be development for another person. It may be destruction for another person. So development is not same for everyone. It is completely different from person to person, and it depends on the situation. It depends on the situational or the people where he is living and so on. Now today let us see about national development. What do you understand by national development? So long we are talking about individual development. What a person wants have development. He wants to have good house, he wants to have good dress, he wants to have good facility, security, all those things. That is meant for himself, concerning about himself. Now let us see as a nation, as a whole. What should be the development for the entire nation so that every person can benefit from that. That is a national development. So, if you ask the people again, what is their idea for the development for the country? Then they will say there should be road should be there, vehicle should be there, banking facility should be there, market should be there, train should be there, a flight should be there. So all these would be their idea for the entire nation. And again there can be conflicting situations. If you ask a town person or if you ask a village person, they will have different ideas. There will not be same idea for everyone. So if there is conflicting situation, the two ideas are there and we have to decide which one shall I choose or which one should be done first. So that is the situation, conflicting situation. We are not able to make a decision. Which one is good? I should choose the first one or the second one. How shall I do it? So when it is beneficial for all, we have to choose that is beneficial for all. At the same time, it should not be at the expense of others. Very often the development is benefited by the rich people and the poor people are affected. They lose their land, they lose their house, they lose their property and so on. So in such kind of situations, we should not just think about development meant for a few sections of the people. We should think about in large scale development which will benefit every population of the country, every person, citizen of the country. That should be the right way to choose for national development. No one should be excluded. No one should suffer for the sake of development which is going to benefit someone else, and especially the poor people, the Adivasis, the tribals who are living near the river or valley or in the forest, and so very often it is at their expense development takes place and government treats them very badly, does not give compensation, does not give them a place to settle down and so on. Very often they are troubled. And we can see in your textbook page number 7, there are two types of development you can see. You can see a big building, tall building there. And if you ask the people what is their idea of development, what will they say? They also already have a very big house, very tall, big house they have. And if you ask them what is your idea of development, what do you need for more development, what will they say? They'll say we need more big house, we need more big compound, we need more marketing facilities, we need business establishments. So they'll be thinking about high levels of development. But just read your text in the second column, it is there about this. It is about a big company, a big oil company, a big ship, and they have a lot of waste is there. A company that is producing a lot of waste. They have to go and throw this waste somewhere, and they don't find any place. And so they find a small company from the Ivory Coast. We will give you some money. You carry this waste from our ship and go and throw somewhere. And so that company takes this money and carry the waste and just put in the open place. So it is a chemical waste, not simply ordinary waste. It's a chemical waste. It is very poisonous, and people who live nearby breathe that poisonous gas and they get sick, and some of them die, and so on. So great things happen, great damage happen, a tragedy happened to those people who were living there. It is because of this big large company. They have enough and more money. They should have easily processed the waste and should have normalize it, which will be good for the nature and so on. But they want to save money. They do not want to waste it by doing the processing or recycling the waste and so on. They simply gave some money to a small company and told them carry this one and throw somewhere. And those people don't care for anything, and so they just kept it, threw it in the open ground, and as a result, many people suffered. Some of them got sick, some of them died, and so on. So whose mistake it is? Can we blame that small company which took the money and carried the waste and threw it there? You should blame the big company because it was their responsibility. The waste coming from their factory should be recycled, it should be cleaned it, and then let out it. Otherwise, they should have done some other methods. So if they were not doing, if they had done it properly, so many people would not have died, so many people would not have suffered. But they did for their own benefit, they want to get maximum profit, therefore they never cared for the people who suffer, and many people got sick. And so when we talk about development, we can say that rich people or that big company, they are getting benefit, they are getting developed, they are getting more profit, but it is at the expense of the poor people. They did no mistake at all, but the waste was thrown in their area and they got sick and they had to spend a lot of money for treatment, and some people even died. So for some people it was development, they saved money, but for other people they lost their life and they lost their health and so on. So when we think about development, it should not be just meant for one person alone, but it should be meant for all. Everyone should be able to get the benefit of the development. We should not try to get development at the expense of others. So that should not happen. Then we can just see on activity. If even the idea of what constitutes development can be varied and conflicting, then certainly there can be differences about ways of developing. So as we said, when we consider the ideas, there is conflicting ideas are there. What is correct for one person may not be correct for another person. And also about development. What is development meant for one person? It may be a serious damage for another person and so on. And so if you know any of such controversy, try to find out arguments advanced by different people. So in your own villages, maybe there some people may be doing some business, and other people may be suffering because of that. So if we have got such kind of ideas in your own village, then you can discuss with other people, the elders of the people, elders in the village, and see this is the situation. What is your opinion? What do you say about it? So in our own area, we may not have much industry which is producing so much, which is causing so much of waste and so on. But very often we can see people who are growing domestic animals, especially like pig and so on. They keep the piggery near to others' house. They keep away from their house and make it at the border of their compound. And next to that maybe the neighbor's house. So growing pig is a profitable for us. We get profit, we get money. But what about the smell and the pollution that is causing to the neighbor? So we are getting development, but at the same time our neighbor is suffering. We are getting advantage at the expense of the neighbor. So such kind of things are there. We should consider that I want development, or I want to be away from the pig, but I don't care whether it is affecting my neighbor or not. So that kind of ideas is not good. So if you see any such kind of injustice taking place in your village or in your area or in your society, try to discuss it with your parents or with your elders, with your neighbors, and ask them, see, such and such things are happening. What is your opinion? What do you say? What is your idea about it? So try to develop such kind of ideas and try to enter into conversation and try to find a solution about solving the sufferings of others or getting profit at the expense of others and so on. So try to make an idea, form an idea by discussing with others. I am sure you will find in your own villages not only growing pigs, but even some other things, some other activities may be there. We always try to make sure that we don't get the problems, but let the problem go to others. I have no problem. So that kind of attitude, that kind of ideas are not good. Now let us see with regard to development, how to compare between different countries. So we know in the world there are so many countries are there. And all the countries are not equally developed. We call them developed countries developing countries and underdeveloped countries. So there are different categories of countries. Developed country means they have got enough income for all the people, and developing country means they don't have enough income, but at the same time they can just somehow manage. That is the situation. And underdeveloped country means they are very poor. The income of the people are very poor. That is why they are called underdeveloped. They are not at all developing. So you might ask, if development can mean different things, how some countries are generally called developed countries, others are underdeveloped, and so on. So you may ask that if this development is taking place, why then these divisions are there? Why some countries are becoming rich, or why some countries are becoming poor, and so on? So what is the answer? So when we compare the different things, we can say we could have lot of similarities as well as differences. So there are a lot of similarities are there, at the same time lot of differences are also there. And which aspects do we use to compare them? So when we compare between these countries, the developed countries, underdeveloped countries and so on, what is the thing that we use in order to compare them? And let us look at the class itself. So if you are in the class, we know there are so many students are there. All are not equal, is it not? What are the differences? Some may be tall, some may be short, some may be fat, some may be thin, some may be very clever, some may be very dull, some may be very intelligent, some may be very smart, some may be very good in sports. So every person has got different qualities are there. All are not equal. They have got different qualities are there. So as they are different in physical qualities, mental qualities and so on. So the healthy student may not be the most studious one. So one may be very healthy, doesn't mean that he is very good for study also. He is very good in health, he may be very good in sports, but in study he may not be the good one. And there may be another person who is very good, who has got very good memory power, and he may be very good in studying, but he may not be very good for playing. Or there may be a very good student who is very good for studies, very healthy, but he may not be very sociable. He may not be friendly with others. He may be always remaining alone and so on. So different people have got different qualities are there. So we use different criterions to choose a sports team. So if you are selecting a football team, you are not going to choose who is the best one for study, who has got very good memory and so on. So for selecting a football team, we are not looking for intellectual fellows. We are looking for healthy fellows. We are looking for who are very smart and who are talented in playing and so on. So those people will be selected for the football team. And if you are selecting a team for a debate, conducting a debate, then we are not going to look for people who are very healthy, people who are very strong and so on. But people will look for people who are very smart, people who are able to speak spontaneously, people who are able to grasp ideas and so on. So for different purposes we look for different criteria and so on. So in the same way, when we compare the development of different countries, we also look different criteria in order to find out whether this country is a developed country or not, whether this country is a underdeveloped country or not. There are different criteria are there to follow. And for comparing countries, their income is considered to be one of the most important attributes. So in order to find out a country is developed or not, the income of the country is very important. The first thing that we look is what is the income of a country. Accordingly, we can say if the income is very high, we can say this country is developed. If the income is very low, then we can say this country is very poor, underdeveloped and so on. So countries with higher income more developed than others with less income. So if the income of a country is very big, very high, then they are developed. If the income of a country is very low, then it is underdeveloped. Now how to find out the income of a country? So income of a country means the income of all the people put together. All the people living in the country, how much money are they earning in a year? They put together, and that is the income of a country. For example, in a country, 100 people are there. 100 people are there in a country, and every person is earning. So we'll calculate what is the income of every person separately. One person how much, second person how much, third person how much, then like that. So all the 100 people's income, what they got in the whole year, it will be put together, calculated together and find out. That is the income of that country. Then This is based on the understanding that more income means more of all things that human beings need. So, because we are considering income as the basic criteria for checking whether this country is developed or not, then whatever people like, they will be able to buy with their income. So if they have got enough income, high income means they will be able to buy so many things that are needed for them. So greater income itself is considered to be an important goal. Therefore, if you ask the people, earlier we said, ask the person, what is your idea of development? They will say, I need work, I need a good salary. So that is the aim of every person. So if every person is able to get a good salary, good income, then all the people in the country will be rich enough, and that country will be a developed country. But the income of all the residents of the country, that gives us the total income of the country, that we already said. All the people's income put together for the whole year and say this is the income of a country. But when a comparison between countries, the total income is not as such useful measure. So if a country is very large, then if we calculate this total income of the country, then it is not going to be a very useful measure. Since countries have different populations, comparing total income will not tell us what an advantaged person is likely to, average person likely to earn. So, as I said, 100 people are there, and their income is put together, and let us say 10 lakhs. So 10 lakhs rupees is the income earned by 100 people. So all these 100 people will not be earning the same amount. Some may be earning more, some may be earning less. Officers may be earning more, laborers will be earning less. So after finding the total amount, that is 10 lakhs, we have to divide by 100. Then we will get the average income of a person. So if you divide this one with 100, then we will get the 10,000. 10,000 as the average income of a person. So that may not be correct. Some people may be earning more than 10,000. Some people may be earning less than 10,000. So we are taking the average. So by looking at the average, we cannot know the exact amount of each person earns. We can only say the average person in our country, the earning of a person is 10,000. So that may not be equal for everyone. There will be a lot of difference. We can just say in figure that 10,000 is the average, but in reality some people may be getting only 1,000 sometime, or maybe only 5,000 sometime, and some people may be getting 20,000. So the exact we are not able to get. When we put together, we can only get the average. I hope you follow. So exact income of every person we cannot know when we follow this method. When we put all the income of the people together, afterwards divide that income with the number of people, then we will get only the average, which may not be exactly same for every person. Then in the World Development Reports, the country says, in the older times they have said, what is the criteria for deciding the required income for considering as a developed country. So earlier it was said that countries with per capita income of US dollar 12,736 US dollar. So it is any person who is able to get this much money, average income in a year, then that person or that country is. If every person in that country has got this much money in a year, $12,736, then that country is a developed country. But if the person's income or the people's average income is